Good evening and salutations, my YNR fans. I gotta sit there and say, I actually like this episode, a lot better. In the beginning, you had Nikki and you had Victoria, and they're talking about business, and I was just like, oh, great. Got out of work. So I could sit there and watch people talk about work. That's awesome. Um, so in the beginning, when I was watching, I was like, the one thing I've been complaining about is just how slow this show has been going, and how there's a lot of times where there's a lot of nothing going on. But I'm gonna sit there and talk about the stuff that I like, and then I'll go to the other stuff that's just like, what else? Um, have my man Victor in this episode, call him Billy, old Billy boy. So I'm not gonna lie, that actually kind of woke me up. Um, Now he is talking to Nikki, and after talking about Billy and seeing Lily and everything like that about advice, they get into Ashland, and it turns out that and somebody I think this person's name is Lane was telling me that Victor is investigating Ashland. I wasn't too sure on the specifics, but he's still investigating him, which is kind of odd because I'm just like, you knew he was a liar before. You knew he was a liar before, okay? And you still allowed him to marry your daughter, knowing that this guy has been lying from day one. And now that he's into the quote unquote family fold, now you're looking into him because he's lying about something else. I, just like, dude, what is going on? Um, that has something to do with a clinic and some sort of like tax scheme that he was there doing. Um, Victor does want to calling over Ashland, and he goes down there, and he does explain a story about how he got involved with the clinic, and it's kind of funny because Victor makes it seem like this is a casual conversation, and in reality, he's just interrogating him. And Ashland isn't stupid. He knows that he is interrogating him, but oh, you want to sit there and have a drink? Is this good with your regimen? Okay, let's have a drink and let's talk like gentlemen. When in reality, he's interrogating him. So he gives him, reasons about, why he got involved with the clinic and everything like that. And then he left. And he talks to Nikki. He's like, yeah, I talked to him and gave me all these answers about, this clinic and stuff like that and, how he got involved. But he felt like the answers were too polished, too rehearsed. And so he still felt like there was something off. And even before Nikki got into the room, I guess he was talking to someone, texting someone, got this guy down there in South America, just doing more digging on Ashland's Ashland's past. Just again, it's laughable. It's laughable, um, but I'm pretty sure there's some sort of grand reason of why he allowed this lying this lying ass man to marry your daughter. I'm pretty sure there's some sort of reason behind that. Now, before Ashland left, he had a conversation with Adam. And all this conversation was to put Adam in his place and to remember who is running the shots, who is calling the shot, who is pretty much steering the ship. I don't really know the ins and outs as far as who's in charge. It seems like Victoria's in charge, but he makes it seem like they're both equal partners, even though I think that he's supposed to be some sort of consultant. I don't know. But the conversation started off kind of cordial and kind of friendly with Adam, or somewhat. And then, he's pretty much just kind of laying down the law. And Adam's like, what's going on? Like, what's going on with this tone? Like, where is this coming from? And I guess Adam is used to kind of doing his own thing, and now that he has to sit there and be answering the people above him, he wants to make sure that the world does not revolve around you, and this is me and your sister's project, and we kind of just tell you what to do. So just kind of again trying to put him in his place. So Victoria walks in, and at first she's like, "What's going on?" And then she kind of dismisses him like he's some sort of like errand boy or whatever. Like he doesn't have like a prestigious type of title. He's like, "Oh well, listen, like some people actually have to get back to work, so why don't you just go and run along now?" I'm like, wow, so this is pretty much how we talk. This is pretty much how we talk to family. But Adam did let her know that he hired Sally, and at first Victoria was like, "You hired Sally. You do realize that we don't have a fashion thing going on, right?" But Adam kind of sticks up for her, and it's like she has a good business savvy, and she's ran her own company and stuff like that back in L.A. And she knew how to handle her own, so she'll do great here. And Victoria's like, "All right, fine, whatever, um, you're training her. I'm not. I'm leaving all that stuff to you." And by the way, you can hire people and do stuff within a reasonable amount, just to kind of make sure that he knows who's in charge. So he does want to talk to Sally, and at first he tries to make a joke talking about, she didn't get hired, and he's like, well, you got hired and stuff like that, and then he quickly talk about the relationship, and then it just goes nowhere. Now Sally was talking to old Billy Boy, and let me get into Billy for a minute. Now again, I was there talking to a subscriber. I think their name is Lane. I don't want to mispronounce their first name, but he was there talking, or she. I'm not too sure, he or she, but they were there talking about because I was there talking about like recasting and stuff like that, how it's good and bad, and this, that, and the third. And the reason why I sit there and bring that up is because Jason Thomas, the guy who plays Billy, was the same guy who at one point played Patrick on GH. And I'm gonna be honest, his character from being on GH and his character from being on this show isn't really different. It's really not different. I mean, yeah, he doesn't come across as cocky with like women or whatever, I guess, but I haven't watched him that long, but it just seems like I don't know how Billy's supposed to be played, but whoever the other Billy was, I guess the other guy who was playing Billy, um, he's clearly playing him differently. And I feel like Jason Thompson is one of those people. It's like, how do I sit there and put this? I'm trying to sit there and think of a good example. And the only example I could sit there and come up with is Will Smith. And I know this example may not make a lot of sense, but try to follow me. And maybe I'll make some sort of sense. So Will Smith was in a movie called The Suicide Squad, and he plays a character named Larson or Deadshot. And people loved his character, or people loved him in the movie. But the thing is, he didn't play Deadshot. He played Will Smith's version of Deadshot. Like Will Smith, for the most part, in most of his movies or most of the movies that people like, he's playing himself. He's not playing that particular character. He's playing himself. Um, because that's just who he is. That's just his natural personality. And I feel like that's the same thing with Jason Thompson. So when I'm sitting there watching him, kind of gripe at Sally and stuff like that, I was like, this really seems like this is Patrick talking. Um, anyway, like I said, they met up. They were griping at each other. Apparently Sally was trying to set him up or whatever. I'm not really too sure the ins and outs of that. I still gotta sit there and look into Wikipedia about it, but I think she might have actually got him to lose his job or something. Or he was faking some sort of gambling debt. Or being a gambler. I'm not too sure. Whatever it is, they got beef with each other. It turns out that they have the same job titles. So after they snipe at each other a little bit more, they wound up leaving. Lily did go to Nikki for advice on, how to run the company best. Um, and so, she gave him some words of wisdom. And Lily came back to, I was about to call him Jason Thompson, Billy. Now, what I didn't know was that Billy's mother was the one who decided, and I could be wrong, Billy's mother is the one that decided that Lily should be in charge of the company and not Billy. Which I felt like that was a kind of an odd choice. Again, I don't know if that's correct. So definitely, I would sit there and say do a fact check, but I'm pretty sure the people that I'm talking to clearly know the show a lot better than me. Um, anyway, he gives us some sort of pep talk, and then they talk about his insomnia, and so I was like, okay, whatever. I don't really know why I should really care about his insomnia, his sleep habits or whatever. Like they talked about it yesterday, and I was just like, okay, all right, so he's not sleeping well. I have my days when I don't sleep well. Why are we talking about this? Like, I mean, this is the thing about yesterday's episode. Like, it was just so. Like, the only thing that I found kind of interesting, or just an interesting storyline, was seeing what was wrong with Dominic and stuff like that. Everything else was just like I don't really care. Um, Jackson at there pondering if he's gonna sit there and give it, shoot a shot with Phyllis or whatever when she gets back from Milan and Summer or whatever. I was like, okay, cool. He didn't really make a decision, and since I'm not that invested into the show yet, I don't really know why I should care. Um, anyway, towards the end of this episode, Ashlyn goes to the bar and he gets a call from someone. Apparently, I guess it's one of his contacts or whatever that's I guess protecting his ass or whatever. Saying that somebody's not there looking into his past. Now, I did forget to sit there and say that Ashlyn did tell Victor like, yo, listen, I didn't tell Victoria yet. I didn't tell her. I didn't want her to sit there and worry and stuff. I'm just sitting there looking at this like, all right, so let me get this straight. Your brother practically was trying to save you from a liar, and you were just like, oh, well, he told me everything. Everything's out in the open. And you practically kicked your brother to the curb as far as not inviting him to the wedding. Just, just, I struggle sometimes to just not just openly use the B word, but like, damn, girl. And now this dude is sitting there still lying to her. And I think his name is called Ashlyn Locke, but I'm just going to call him Ashlyn Liar because that's what this guy has seemed like he knows how to do from jump. From the time that I've been watching this show, all he has done is lie his entire ass off. Um, yeah. Anyway, I think that's about it for the most part. Like I said, I'm still getting used to this show, so it's gonna take me some time to kind of just get into the groove of it a little bit. But I gotta sit there and say this episode was a lot better than the last two episodes. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.